Ever find yourself scrolling online and suddenly you just have to have it? That new phone, those shoes, maybe even a trip. We're tackling wants versus needs today, which feels especially relevant as you're figuring out young adulthood.
It's a timeless dilemma, isn't it?
Totally.
Yeah.
And to help us unpack it, we're looking at a really interesting combo of sources. First, we've got some timeless wisdom from the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him.
Always a good place to start.
Right. And then we'll bring it into the modern day with a text that dives into how we experience desire in our times.
It's remarkable how these sources, even though they're separated by centuries, really are grappling with the same core human experience.
It's so true. It's like they're both trying to answer the question. In a world that's constantly telling us to want more, how do we find contentment? So let's jump into it with this saying of the Prophet, peace be upon him, from Sunan ibn Majah, likening the stomach to a vessel. And it advises us to fill it with 1/3 food, 1/3 drink, and 1/3 air.
The 1/3 rule. I love this one.
It's definitely stuck with me.
And of course, it's not meant to be taken literally, right? Like, measure out your water bottle precisely. It's about so much more than that.
Exactly. So how do we actually apply this 1/3 rule to our lives?
It's a powerful nudge to examine everything we consume. Not just food and drink, though that's important too, but everything we take in. All that stuff, those fleeting desires.
And by stuff, you mean?
All of it. The latest gadgets, the trends we feel pressured to keep up with, the stuff we buy because we think it'll make us happy. Are we filling our lives with so much of that we have no room left for what truly nourishes us?
Spiritually, mentally, emotionally.
Exactly. It's about finding that balance. And that's where our modern text comes in, this idea of questioning what we're consuming, what truly nourishes us.
It's like it picks up the conversation right where that saying leaves off.
It really does. And it dives into this idea that, especially in the modern world, as young adults, we're constantly bombarded with messages about what we should want, who we should be, what we should be striving for.
Oh, absolutely. Like every time you open your phone, it's, you need this, you need to look like this, you need this experience. It's almost impossible to even hear yourself in all that noise.
Right. It's overwhelming. And this is where the text brings in this concept of the hedonic treadmill, which I think is so helpful to understand.
Okay, break that down for us. What is a hedonic treadmill and why do we care?
So the text explains it as this. We chase after something, a new purchase, a promotion, you name it, thinking it'll bring us happiness. And then, even when we get it, that happiness is often fleeting.
It's like you reach the top of the mountain and you're already looking for the next one to climb.
Exactly. That's the treadmill in action. You're constantly striving, seeking that next hit of satisfaction, but it's often temporary. Because we adapt, we get used to it, and then we're on to the next thing.
Oh, I've totally felt that. You work so hard for something, you achieve it, and it's like, okay, what's next?
Right, and that cycle, it can be really hard to break free from.
And doesn't that tie in with what we were talking about with the prophet saying, peace be upon him? Like both of these sources are saying, in their own ways, pay attention to what you're filling your life with.
100%. They're urging us to be mindful, intentional. And the modern text, it takes it even further by asking, where are these desires even coming from?
That's a great question.
Are they truly our desires? Or have they been shaped, molded, even manufactured by outside forces?
It's like, how are you even supposed to know what you really want when you're being pulled in so many directions?
Right. And that's why this idea of self-awareness is so crucial. The text really emphasizes that, especially for young adults. Taking that step back, creating some space between ourselves and all those external pressures.
Like hitting the pause button before you hit buy now.
Exactly. That pause can be so powerful because in that space, you have the chance to check in with yourself. Is this thing I'm about to buy, this experience I'm chasing after, is it really something I want? Or is it something I've been told to want?
So to bring it all together, we've got this ancient wisdom urging moderation, balance, self-reflection, and then we have this modern text echoing those same ideas, but it's looking at them through the lens of today's world with things like the hedonic treadmill and the overwhelming amount of choice we're faced with.
And it's not about rejecting the modern world completely, right? It's about being mindful of how it's influencing us, how it might be shaping our desires. Both sources are reminding us that we have a choice in what we allow to fill our lives, both physically and mentally.
So it sounds like this deep dive is really a call to action.
Absolutely. It's an invitation to get off that treadmill of endless wanting, to recognize that true contentment. It comes from a deeper place than just accumulating more stuff.
It's about figuring out what truly nourishes you.
Exactly. And that's a lifelong journey, really. But it's a journey worth taking.
So next time you feel that pull, that I need this feeling, take a moment to pause and ask yourself, Is this really a need? Or is it a want disguised as a need? And what will truly bring me lasting happiness?